I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat, South America. Hope you guys are all good. Boy, oh boy, what a day this has been. Hi, Barbara. Hello, Just Joan. Hello, Ann, Kristen, Melinda, Brock Bandy, Timothy Glass, Jeremy Fowler, Barella. Good to see you. Hi, Heather Rhodes. All right. If you could hit that like button, we're going to get going in just a minute. Hi, Josh, Cohen family, Winchester Super X, Susie, heard ya. It's just, wow. Thank you for the 5x5 there, Brock. I appreciate it. And Jeremy and Kristen. You guys are taking care of me. Hi, Captain Capsaicin. Good to see you. Hi, Lilac Line. All right, so I am my brother's keeper. Hi, Robert Pop Springs. Hi, Arwa. Hello, John. All right. My computer's glitching, freezing up. I'm afraid it's going to do it again. We'll see. Going through it. But you know what? Tommy's going through it more. Hi, Rocket Queen. All right. So, boy, you know what? I had some more of this. It wasn't quite as bad as it was the other night, but holy moly. All right. So you saw the thumbnail. It's interesting. This has been on my mind. I've been journaling about it. It's been on my mind for the last few days. And I'll bet you everybody can relate to this. Tommy's just been in a lot of pain. He's had several sleepless nights. I mean, I never get up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, but I did last night at like 4 o'clock. And we were getting up at like 4:30 or 5. So, and he's pacing. I look down the hallway, he's pacing. When I got up, it was 5. I don't know what times when I actually got up, but I looked down the hallway and he's doing push-ups. He's doing everything he can to distract himself from what's going on. He's in agony. He's got a tooth that needs to be removed. He's going to be at the dentist tomorrow at 9 a.m. But it's just brutal. He's got a toothache that just will not quit. And he hasn't, a couple days in a row, he hasn't been able to do streams. And that's bugging him. That's not like him, So, we've all heard have you guys heard that 5% of what, and I'm not going to focus too much on the chat right now, but if you have comments or questions, in a little bit, I'll kind of be focusing on the chat, right? So if you have, in a little bit, I'll kind of let you know when that is. Capital C's, and that's going to let me know it's a comment you'd like me to read. Bunch of capital Q's, and I'll know it's a question, but I'll flag it and I'll address them in a little bit. But have you guys heard the theory that 5% of life is stuff that happens to you, right? And 95% of life is how we react to that. Yeah? Have you heard that? This is I'm wrestling with this because here's the thing. The 5% of Tommy right now is that he's got a brutal toothache. And 95% of what's going on is how he deals with it, right? I feel selfish even saying this, but believe it or not, the 5%, his tooth, his pain, that's my 5% right now. I know that I'm not experiencing the pain, but that's what's happening in my life. That's my 5% right now. And just like the 95% he's got is how he's going to deal with it, it's mine too, how I'm going to deal with it. If you always say ones in the chat, it's confusing with prayer and good feelings and vibes and a electronic digital hug. So if you've ever experienced someone else that you love that's going through it with a lot of pain, throw a 5 in the chat. I want to see. I have a funny feeling that everybody here has experienced that. Yeah, I bet you have. So here's how I see this, right? We got Timothy Glasses felt it. Fowler, Ann has, John, Arwa. I think we all have been there, right? It's part of the human experience, Brock, for sure. Just Joan, We're all there. So my 95% right now is how I respond to how Tommy, the pain he's going through, right? Wild Wood Jake, good to see you. Whidbey Island Hippie Girl, thanks for being here. Hit the like, please, and we'll get some more people in here. I guarantee you, everybody that rolls in here has somebody that they've seen, it's part of life. So here's my choice. How am I going to handle the 95%? I could complain or stress and worry about it. I could seize up, right? I could seize up or I can step up. Seizing up isn't going to do Tommy any good. I think stepping up is what I need to do, right? So basically what I can do is I can show up, right, for Tommy. That's what I'm trying to do. Countless times he has shown up for me, but he's my baby brother, and it's just brutal to watch him, go through that. So if I seized up, guess what? I wouldn't be doing this stream right now. I kind of seized up this morning, seizing up doesn't do anybody any good. So I need to show up for Tommy and I need to show up for you guys. That's how I feel, You know why that's important? Because that's the little bit that I can control is showing up. We all have choices of how we can handle this, right? You all do. I saw a bunch of fives. You're all going through it too. So how do I control it? What do I do? I made some notes because I'm flustered big time right now. So Tommy's pain, it can't control my reaction, my emotions to things, my reaction, really. You know what does? Our empathy, right? And our heart, that's what shows up. That's what makes a difference. That's the 95%, right? It's choosing patience, right? And grace and strength and presence. Those are all really difficult things for me right now. I'm journaling about it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to be here for all you guys, And I'm trying not to seize up for Tommy. He doesn't want to see me seizing up. That's not doing anybody any good, right? So that's what I'm going through. So I want to ask you guys. You guys have ever felt helpless? You have somebody you love is going through it? Hi, Shannon Doom. Good to see you. What did you do? What have you guys done when somebody's going through it that you love? I'm a masochist. It is what it is. I like pain. But I've always said I hate toothaches, headaches, earaches, back pain, calf cramps, and heartache. That's what I said. Well, toothaches is one of those things that I can't deal with. And he's going through it. When it happened to you guys, did you show up for them? I bet you did. Tommy says all the time, the superpower is that the greatest people seem to show up here. So I got a funny feeling all of you showed up for the ones that were in pain, right? I'm trying not to let my stress of what he's going through, because it's going to exacerbate what he's going through if he sees me freaking out about it, right? That's kind of what I feel. So I bet you $1 million. I said, who's gone through that? If you're going through it right now, you could put a 5 in the chat. But I bet you everybody is. Everybody's got somebody that's going through something. Brock Bendy and I are close. We talk. I'm not singling you out, Brock, but I know that Brock's going through something right now where someone's hurting and going through it. And he's faced with the exact same thing I'm faced with. Look at that. Jeremy Fowler. And Brock's got 3 of them in there. So does Ann. So I'm journaling about it. And that's helping. You know what I mean? It really is. It's helping. Now, listen, Tommy's got a dentist appointment tomorrow at 9 a.m. He's going to be there when the place opens. Promise you. He's going to be there. He'll be at the door. My mom died at her home with us surrounding her. Her last couple of weeks were heartbreaking. I read scripture and prayed. How solid is that? Old Charlie says, love him and pray for him. You can only do, Captain Capsaicin says, you can only do what you can do. Prayers and medicine help. Here are a few things that people said early on before when I was first talking. I've blown my forearm to pieces. Had many brutal toothaches due to Suboxone. Had kidney stones and a knee replacement. Number one pain level is stones, then teeth. I've had kidney stones. It sucks. I was married to my kid's mom. And in the middle of the night, it hit me. I was laying there. It was like somebody threw a bucket of water on me. I was sweating so bad. And I told her I was dying. I rolled over and woke her up and told her I was dying. You know what she said to me? I kid you not. She said, breathe through it. Should have been a sign. We were heading in the wrong direction. But that's awful. Kidney pain, kidney stones. Boy, it's surreal how much that hurts, you know? Jeremy says 100% of the human condition to feel the pain of others, but that's also how you know you care. Timothy says teeth pain can actually affect someone's mind. I promise you. Now, tomorrow, they're going to yank that. They shouldn't have even been talking about it. I've been talking about dry socket. Anybody in the chat ever have dry socket? Like I've had, that's you know what? I'll put dry socket right next to kidney stone. For real. It's the worst thing. So I'm praying like that tomorrow. It goes smoothly. Ann says, A is Ann, you guys. Ann says, just be there in whatever capacity they need or will accept. For real. Kristen says, my parent had major surgery several years ago. I went into go mode for her. And when she needed it, and then on my own, I cried in the car or to a friend. It's heavy duty. Do you guys know the definition of minor surgery? Have you ever heard of it? You guys know the definition of minor surgery? Hi, Barbara. Thanks for being here. Minor surgery is surgery that anybody else is having. When you're having it, there's no such thing as minor surgery, if you ask me. Hi, Toxic Gracie. I just grew Warchick's pepper, my first super rock grow. Wish me luck. Wow, good luck with that. Peppers are finicky. They really are. It's a finicky plant. For real. Jeremy says, most of the people close to me are in a rough spot right now. You know what? I think that's the kind of the standard for everybody. If you're young, maybe not, but when you get to be, I don't know how old you are actually, Jeremy, but you get to be my age, everybody's going through something. Really. It's amazing. Chili Chaplin says, that's why I like being a chaplain, walking with people through their pain. That's heavy. You have a special heart. It's a rough thing, It really is. Give Tommy hugs and tell him to give you some punches because you just want to hurt something. Yeah, I know that. Here's the thing. He's being great. He's being incredible. And he has a really high tolerance for pain. Hi, Monk. Good to see you, dude. Monk. But there's pain some pain is just too much, man. And I can see it on his face. I'm asking him, how do you do it? I know he's lying to me. He's just in agony. It sucks. It's a bummer. Two bottom wisdom teeth that got pulled were both dry sockets. Worst pain ever. I told you guys a story when I had it. It was awful. I removed my wisdom tooth last year, and it was bothering me a bit. When I had mine out, I was in my 30s, and the doctor that I had, I told you this the other day. I'm not sure if you were in the chat where I talked about it. The place I went to was in Rockford, Illinois, and the practice was owned by two doctors, and I swear to you, I'm not lying, Dr. Wunderlich and Dr. Rentschler. Rentschler. Imagine being a dentist and your name is Rentschler. I like Wunderlich more. Rentschler took my teeth out. He was he was rough. Wunderlich took at the time, my kid's mom took her teeth out. It was it was a much better experience. How are you?
All right.
Any success?
I don't know. Yeah. Anti-inflammatory. Let's see what it does.
Now, tomorrow at 9, he's going to be there. You guys are, I don't care if it's good vibrations. I don't care what your get down is. If you pray, please pray for him. But 9 o'clock in the morning, he's going to be at their door. Measles Smokes, thank you for being here. Okay, not watching from my house in Monticello. Glad you're here. Thank you. Herja says, you know, Herja, he is Corey Feldman. Let me show you something really, really funny. We need a little relief here. This will bring a smile to people's faces. Oh no, it's not there anymore. I'll have to reload it. He looks so much like Corey Feldman, you guys wouldn't believe it. When I suffered with tooth pain, they prescribed me amoxicillin and Loratab. It helped until I could get them pulled. Yeah, it's an awful thing. John says, mine ruptured, freak the pain. It's horrible. Oh, and I lost my mom and dad 10 days apart in 2020. Makes a toothache seem like nothing, right? Was devastated, but somehow stayed strong for my siblings and family. Cried myself to sleep several nights, but kept the strength showing to everyone else. Wow. Perspective, people. Puts things in perspective. Thank you for that. I appreciate you guys praying for him, for real. Listen, I don't care how bad it hurts. I just don't want him to have dry socket. I wish I could take it for him. If I could, I don't know if you guys believe me, but I swear to you, if I could, I would. I can't. Came up perfectly. Looks like a bit like a crock tooth. It's a brutal thing. And you know the whole dry socket, they pulled out this little root sticking up where the tooth was. They pack it with gauze with clove oil, right? And you aren't supposed to smoke or suck on a straw, right? I went home and I got a Coke from McDonald's. I drank it on the way home. Didn't know it hadn't hit yet. I laid on the couch. I had Vicodin. I remember I had Vicodin. I took, not gonna lie, I took a handful of them, chewed them up and swallowed them. And I lay on the couch. And as I was falling asleep, I watched, I don't know if it was Mutual of Omaha or National Geographic, something, but there was a video. It was a helicopter. I swear to you, I'll never forget. Hi, Marcy. Thanks for being here. It was a helicopter and a dude hanging out of the helicopter with a harness. And they were chasing a grizzly bear in Alaska. And the guy shoots him with a dart, one of the tranquilizer. So they followed it. It was running away from it, like terrified, I'm certain. And it fell asleep and finally kind of crashed out. And when it did, they landed a helicopter and they run up to this bear, put a collar on with a tracking device so they can see where it's going. Like, why do we need to know where that bear is going? Why was that necessary? They pull his lip down and they tattoo a number on his lip because they're going to shoot him with a dart again and see where he's going. Maybe they do it so if he dies, they know where he was and track the range just for some purpose. But then they open his mouth, and I swear to you, the guy says, he's got some overcrowding in here. And with a pair of pliers, they just indiscriminately started pulling. Jane, good to see you. I'm so glad you're here. City G, glad you're here. They just randomly yanked a whole bunch of teeth out of this bear's mouth. I just had my teeth taken out a short time earlier, like an hour earlier. I crashed. I woke up and had dry socket from drinking a straw on McDonald's Coke. It was brutal. Wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. That's not even a joke. Cindy says, hello to everyone. Hugs and love to those needing or wanting. Sorry to be late. You're not late. No such thing as late. Tommy's words are classic. Man, he's a guru. You may not want to hear it, but it's the truth. Thank you, John. He's a sharp dude. Dislocated knee, severed the peripheral nerve, fractured femur, and tore 3 ligaments in my knee. Most pain I ever had. Wow. Brutal. I'm not even sure. The worst pain I ever had. It would probably be kidney stones or dry socket. Brutal. And I called, when I got up, I had him earlier, my teeth were taken out earlier in the day, and it was a Friday, right? And after I woke up because of the pain. I'm like, I'm dying. It was surreal how much it hurt. I'd never experienced pain like that. And I called the doctor. I said, I'm dying. I need something. You got to help me. He said, it was Friday. He goes, well, we're getting ready to leave for the weekend. We'll see you on Monday. I got in my car and drove like Mario Andretti, like wigging in and out of traffic. I drove so fast, four-wheel drift into the parking lot. I ran up and I sat down. I got in there before they left. And they shoved gauze with clove oil into the hole. And like that, the pain was gone. I'm not kidding you. What a relief that was. And I was so careful about the rest. I was careful breathing. I was so scared of that. It was brutal. Barbara, wait. I'm having a going away party for the tooth tomorrow morning all by myself. You're very sweet. You know, he's tough as nails. Tommy's a beast. So, but toothache can make a beat like, I don't care who you are. It's brutal. Marcy Schwartz, sending healing energy, hugs and love. Man, thank you so much, Marcy. I really appreciate it. I know he does. Chili Chaplin, knee injuries are freaking horrible. Makes me almost want to puke. You know, I broke my left leg in like 3 or 4 places on Thanksgiving Day when I was 13 years old. That was a pretty bad one. Went through a windshield of a car when I was 17. Rolled a car with Tommy in it. Tommy and I was driving like a moron. So stupid. I broke one of everything. I broke a bunch of ribs, eye socket, contusions on my kidney. It was horrible. That was a bad one. But you know what? I was a kid. I was buff and in great shape. If it happened to me today, I'd be dead. I never would have survived it. For real. Ann said prayers for Tommy, you and the guys at the rehab this morning at church. Thank you so much. See, that's good prayer. Those guys at the rehab center. You know, we went last week and it was one of the most amazing experiences it was the most amazing experience I've ever had in my life. Tommy said the same thing. It was insane. One of the craziest things. And I was talking to Gary I'm like, 1 day a week? That's all we can muster is 1 day a week. So now we're doing 2 days a week. And I bet you it's going to get to be more than 2 days a week. They need more connection than that. You know what's funny though? Even without speaking the language, connection really is what does it. Connection it's a cure-all. It helps so many people in so many ways. But here's the thing. Everybody here, there's 46 of us. Every one of us has someone in their life that's hurting. Show up. You know, don't seize up. Show up and be compassionate. You know, I know he doesn't want to hear me say, how you feeling? I've asked him that. In the last 48 hours, I've asked him it too much. So I'm not going to ask him anymore. I just said, look, when you want something, anything I can do, just say it. You know, he knows he can count on me. But so everybody, we're all there. It's part of life. Show up and just be there in any capacity you can, you know. But I just want it to be over for him, you know. Heard just says, Tommy has to be careful what he eats afterwards too. Don't eat anything that can get stuck in the hole where they pulled it. Yeah, he's going to be very, very careful, I'm sure. It's the worst. Here's the thing. It's interesting. We don't speak Spanish, you know what I mean? And we're learning. Oh, where are my flashcards? I made 200 flashcards today. With great. We're going through them and we're learning. But, you know, when you go to the doctor, when communication is really important, when you're sitting in a chair at a dentist's office or a doctor's office. So he's got, and I don't know, we haven't talked to him. He has, but I don't know if they have somebody who speaks English there. But we have this wonderful app. You guys know what that looks like. A lot of you have it. Translate app. Thank God for that. I had a good session after. It's been fine ever since. Herja says, I only ate pudding, applesauce, and nothing that wasn't sauce or soft. Let me tell you something. I know Tommy, if he even thinks that potentially eating something could cause problems, he'll just go without for 3 or 4 days. Liquid diet and no straws. Barbara says, the worst pain I ever had was following EDTA chelation. That's where they dissolve and scrape calcium from your cornea. The recovery is awful. Wow. I didn't even like reading that. I'm so sorry. You know what, John? It wasn't that bad, but it hurt. But I've had pain that was a lot worse. I was a kid, you know. I heard it. You know what's happened? The bindings were clamped down way too tight. They were for somebody that was 200 pounds, and I was like 120, you know. So I fell going way too fast on a flat, and the skis rolled. I remember feeling this awful pressure in my leg. And then when it broke, the pressure went away. It hurt, but that pressure was gone. It was twisting. It was a bummer. Both were broken clean, and one had a spiral that started and stopped, and then above it, a spiral that started and stopped. Not fun. Charlie messed his knee up a couple times, ran through a park at night, and there was a snap tree I connected. It's amazing. When I get down, I think of Job. Yeah, you know what? I think about that a lot. I'll tell you what, I've struggled with that book a lot. Queenslander, good to see you. Gouthy, I've struggled with that book. I still do sometimes reading it. I feel like, yeah, it's not probably the time to talk about that, but that's a book I struggle with. I do. Amen to you being a survivor. We'll be saying a prayer for Tommy. I know that there's a lot of people praying for Tommy. I got to tell you something. Prayer works. I'm serious. For all who need or want one. Thank you, Jane. Chili Chaplin says, my story is I stepped out of a bicycle taxi in Phoenix. My knee just popped out. It was due to my weight. In 2011, I was over 550. Now I weigh 269. It woke me up. Wow, you lost a person. You lost a whole person. Chili Chaplin, that is awesome. boy, that had to have been a life changer, right? Proud of you. That's huge. That's so epic. It's not funny. Good for you, I'll tell you. A scream is the same in any language, right? That's a fact. He can't spit either. I learned that's hard to do after brushing my teeth. I'm telling you, he's gonna be very, very careful. I promise you that. I want to make sure he's very, very careful. I'm going with him. It's not like when I said he's going to be at the door at 9, I'm going to be there with him. Can't let him go through any of this alone, you know. We'll get through it. We've been through a lot, he and I. We've been doing this for a long time, so we've been through a lot. We'll get through this, I promise. Yeah, congrats to Chili Chaplin, right? Look at that. That's huge. That's such an. Can I tell you something? In my life, I don't think I've ever heard of anybody for real who's lost that much. You changed everything. I bet all the different ways your life was changed by that, it's probably difficult to even list them all, right? You bought time is what you did. You extended your life. That's a fact. Right before I did this stream, my computer seized up. So I messaged Kristen. I said, hey, would you do me a favor and tell her it's going to be a few minutes late? Hi, Tassie Dalt. Hi, Archie's mom. Then right after that, it fixed again. I was like, oh my God. Then it seized up again. It did 2 or 3 times. I don't know what's going on my computer. It's relatively new. I detest anything technology. I really do. That's one of my weaknesses. I feel terribly inept. And my kids, all my children, they can work through any of it. It's like a language they somehow learned. I actually learned, remember BASIC, the computer language BASIC? I learned that in high school. It's useless now. It's like COBOL. Hello, Tassie Dalt. Hello, Johnny and everyone. Thanks for being here. Cliff Ann Ferguson. So good to see you. Thank you for being here. So he's going through it. Now, tomorrow morning, let me see. He's going to be there at 9. I promise you, he's not going to do a live stream because I don't anticipate him doing much sleeping tonight. But I'll probably do a live stream tomorrow morning. It will be a relatively short one. But I'll do a live stream, and you have no idea how much I appreciate the thoughts and good wishes and prayers. It's epic. Off topic, kinda. AI is going to be the death of imagination and the human mind. I have mixed emotions with AI. There's been a big, YouTube is making some changes. There are a lot of AI channels where it's all AI, no human beings are in it. And they've made one of the things they've done is if you have an AI, if you put out AI content and there are no real human beings in it, they won't pay you for it. So they're doing something. Hopefully that'll discourage them. Maybe they'll go to a different platform where they pay for that sort of stuff. I have mixed emotions about it because there's a company that Tommy and I are working with, and they we've sold our content to them. All right. So, and they're using it to train AI models, and moving forward, they're trying to get them more human-like. It's interesting. AI is scary. We've all seen what the fear is, that they're going to take over and just, we've seen too many movies, but it's definitely, here's the thing. I don't know if this is true. I have no idea if this is true, but I've heard that for years, AI has been writing the music that we listen to. They write it and they give bands buy the material, and they sing it. And they play the music and sing it. I don't know if that's true. Here's the thing. Queenslander says the AI voice is slightly annoying. I have an AI program in my voice. The book that I wrote about Tommy and I. At some point, it'll be something that's available. I have to rewrite the ending. So, which is a drag, because it's already like 650 pages. It's a big book, but I'm rewriting the ending. All right. And at some point I might do like an editor's cut, the direct, or the writer's cut, where it's going to be in my voice. Somebody talked to me about it. I couldn't read it. There's no way I could sit in front of a microphone and read that. I couldn't get through it. There were parts I just could not say without, falling apart. It was hard enough to write. I couldn't read it. But this AI program in my voice, I've heard the first chapter actually in my voice, reading it. And if you know me really, really well, you might be able to, you might say it, something's off about that. But if you didn't know me well, you would never know. I'm serious. So AI is definitely weird. There's no two ways about it. It's definitely a strange thing. Anybody in the chat scared about AI? For real, is anybody in the chat kind of a little nervous about what the effect AI will have on life? Anybody? Because here's the thing. I can't see it being any worse than social media is. Prayers for Tommy and you as well. Hoping tomorrow he'll begin to feel better. Thank you so much. I hope he will. AI demos would be cheaper to present to bands. Yeah. Well, not that. Look, you would probably take. People are scared of it. Yeah. If I had to read it with how long that book is, how long it would take me sitting in a studio reading it? Because I'd read one. It would take forever. When we did the first chapter, I pushed it. It was done. I didn't do it. The guy was working, clicked it, and it was done just like that. So, but here's the thing. If you watch AI content, have you ever done this? I don't know if you guys have done this, where you look at it, you're like, is that AI? It sort of doesn't look like a real person. Something's off about it. So it's kind of weird. I believe, says Kristen, that I believe that about music being written by AI, at least lyrics anyway. Here's the problem. I sound like the old guy on the porch. Get off my lawn. The music is gone. Good music, it's gone. It's terrible. I think it's terrible. It stopped being. The 80s were good. I think at the end of the 80s decade was probably the last decade of good music. Isn't that terrible that I sound like that? I think I'll always be old-fashioned. Love the old classic songs. Me too. Boy, that's a fact. Anne's concerned about aspects of it. Here's the truth of it. This social media is way worse. I think I don't know if the world is going to be around in 20 years or 30 years. I have no idea. But if there is human beings still on the planet 20 or 30 years from now, I think they'll probably do a study and realize how much social media jacked up the world. For real. You know what it is? It's a comparison machine. It is. In comparison, it's the thief of joy. I avoid a lot of social media. I am no longer on Facebook. My page is there. You know what? Tommy and I, when we first got here, Tommy and I spent I'm not even fooling you. A couple hours trying to delete my Facebook account. You can't. It's impossible. They don't want you to delete it. So I just don't go on it. I don't know what people are saying there. I don't really care. But I'm not on there anymore at all. And I'm not on Instagram at all anymore. I don't like it. And even this, do you understand what percentage of the content on this platform is just trash? It's so bad. There's some good stuff. There are definitely some good channels. But here's the thing. You got to find them. And you got, just like food, you got to be careful with what you consume, right? Or you can eat something bad and bad things can happen. Well, consumption is consumption. You may not be eating it, but the content you consume, it affects your head. I promise you it does. I stopped watching the 24-hour news cycles and stopped watching TV about over 10 years ago. And that helped my life so much. There's nothing good on TV. There's nothing good. And the problem is 90% of the stuff on this platform, I think is horrible. It's not uplifting at all. I said this the other day, if I just started swearing in videos and just started being vicious and nasty, you know what that would do to my views? I'd make a lot more money. I don't care about that. I don't want, if you have a positive message, I think they suppress it. Not necessarily suppress it, they sure won't push it. I'm nervous for sure, says Fowler. I'm skeptical in a hopeful sense. I pray it only does good and helps humanity instead of replacing it. It's going to be tough. I've heard people say, and it sounds like it's possible that it's going to steal so many jobs that eventually they'll have to have a universal income because there's going to be very few jobs out there. So they'll have to have a universal income, which is spooky to even say that, if you ask me. It's the job losses that will happen. Engineering, drivers, trades, you name it. I saw a clip about Glenn Beck talking about it. That's insane. Was he talking about a universal? If that happens, what are you going to do? People don't have jobs. You aren't going to just starve. There'll have to be something, right? Scary. I've seen too many movies. I find that all the time now. Never know what's real and what is AI. A lot of the shorts you watch are AI. I watched one the other day of a tractor. I didn't know what was going to happen. It just went off into a ravine. I mean, you couldn't see it out of sight. It was like a mountain, like a cliff or something. Thank God it was AI. But, you see that stuff. It looks so real. Even though it's AI, don't think it can't traumatize you. Right? Kristen says, I worry about people trying to use AI to replace genuine human connection. There's no substitute for that. I think it's going to replace, I think someday juries will be AI. Removes the weirdness, somebody, I think that'll happen. I think also therapy. You ready for this? I'll tell you something kind of weird. I was talking to AI once, in the last 3 months, about imposter syndrome. I was talking about it, and it absolutely took on a therapy sort of feel to it. And it made me think. I'm a believer in therapy. I think therapy is a great thing. I really, really do. I was in therapy for a couple of years, and I went through 3 or 4 different therapists before I found one I clicked with. For real, it was difficult. When I was talking to AI, clicked with it immediately. That scares me. I think it's that scares me, because who programs that? It can't be smarter than people, because people create it. So when people say it's going to get smarter than people, no, it's not, because people, people create it. So it's only as smart as the smartest people that create the AI. But it's scary, the impact it can have, and the influence is spooky. We will ever see movies put together about any humans involved and all AI voices. Look, all right, you guys see the shorts that I put up? Have you guys seen them? In the last months, the shorts that I put up. You know how I do that? I'm not going to even tell you the name of there's an app where I put in the video, and 2 seconds later, there are 15 shorts they made. It's amazing. It's crazy. But AI did that. Now it's me, still my voice, and nothing's changed. But AI is when it takes that hour-long video, chops it up into 15 small shorts. Spooky. It's weird to me. still doing it because, I'm not very good at this computer stuff. It would take a bare minimum 3 days. Chili Chaplin, I think AI is like robots on an assembly line. When they break down, someone has to fix them. Yep. Well, here's the thing: is since they're programmed by people, you've seen the Terminator movies, right? What's to stop them from programmed to do something horrific? I've had an interesting talk with AI. I'm like, people are scared to death of you, and they're like, yeah, I know that. You can have a really weird conversations with them. I had an interesting talk asking them about God and religion and things like that. Like, who programmed you? I don't trust people is the problem. And not people here, but I mean, I don't trust government at all, not even a little bit. Yeah, I've had arguments with ChatGPT too. I absolutely have. I have a problem with Siri. Go to sleep. I'm not talking to you. I had a problem with.
I understand. We all need to recharge once in a while.
Did you hear that? I'm not talking to you. Please be quiet. I'm trying to be nice. Don't talk anymore. See that? A long time ago, it was probably the month I started Chase the Heat. So almost 10 years, 9 years ago, I was going through it. I was having a problem with that thing, that onboard little helper there. And I said something I shouldn't. I called her a bad name. I'm just being honest with you. And my phone was locked out immediately. It's like nothing worked. Nothing worked. I Googled things to do, turn it off, turn it on. I had to take it to an Apple store. And I told them what happened. I said, she couldn't have locked me out because I said a bad word. He said, absolutely. What makes you think she can? Here's the thing. How many people here keep this by their bed at night? It's always listening. Think what happened. I mean, who keeps, honestly, if you keep your phone in your bedroom by your nightstand or on your bed, put a 5 in the chat. This will be interesting. Seriously, if you have your phone in your bedroom, my dad used to turn his phone off every night. I was like, really? I've never turned that phone off. I've had it for a long time. I've never turned it off. Look at everybody who keeps their phone in their bedroom. They're always listening. Always. And I'm telling you, a long time ago, I was invited to a chili show it was Costa Rica. Was it Costa Rica? I think it was Costa Rica. And I understand if you sit at your computer and you type something about Costa Rica, I understand they're going to fire stuff to your email and all the ads pop up will be about Costa Rica. I said, I can understand that. I didn't type anything. I just spoke about it. And that was it. Nothing was on my computer. The next day I'm getting stuff about Costa Rica on my computer. Spooky. There was actually some lawsuit where, and what ended up happening was, I think it was Apple, where they had to apologize for listening in and recording intimacy. Did you guys hear about this? They had to apologize. We're sorry that we recorded your intimate moments. That's terrifying. I think it's terrifying. But again, maybe I'm just old. Who knows? They already have robot people and pets, a family that doesn't cost to feed as well as their pet. Yeah. I can see with workers, I hate to say it, but it's going to be interesting. I just watched sports, WWE sitcoms from the 90s or in early 2000s. Not much good on nowadays. Yeah, it's terrible. It's definitely terrible. Yep. Yeah. There is no substitute for connection. That's a fact. I worry what AI is going to do to the future generations, research, writing skills, critical thinking. Yeah, let me tell you something. Can you imagine testing, if you write a paper, you're in a jam, hey, quickly, I need a paper about this. It's done in 2 seconds. I think there are things in place to know if AI has assisted you, but who knows? If I were a student nowadays, sadly, there are many already today that don't actually connect in real life, but only over the internet. It's a fact. I want to go back to roll-up car windows, records, cassettes, having to get up and change the TV channel and actually face-to-face communication. Yeah, I kind of missed those days. Just Joan, actually, I'm more concerned about our government gathering our voter data Social Security data and all the things we were promised, we were protected and yeah. You know what? I don't worry about it so much now that I live here because they aren't there yet. It'll be 50 years before they're not thinking about that here. I'm not even joking. Like, why get a significant other if AI will tell you whatever you want to hear and be what you want? We become less human, the less we connect with other humans. I think there's no way that AI can replace true love. That's just me, though. We're going to wrap it up in just a minute, you guys. I'm going to go see how my brother's doing. I worry about what is going to do to future generations. I think I read that one right. Yeah. No, research skills, writing ability, critical thinking, analysis. I have a lot of friends in academia and the battle's already real. Oh, for sure it is. You're a good man. I've seen it all. True that. The government are attempts. My phone stopped telling me what to do last week. I'm not even going to get to all these, you guys, and I apologize, but I need to go take care of my brother. So I hope you guys understand. Here's what I'd like you to do. If you guys, Montgomery Angel, good to see you. I appreciate you guys being here. Anyway, I'm going to go take care of my brother because he needs it. And if you guys could throw some positive wishes, good vibrations, whatever you do, prayers. I prefer prayers, but that's me. I appreciate you guys. I promise you Tommy does too. So between now and tomorrow morning, I'll be on tomorrow morning. Tommy's not going to be, all right? Tell someone you love them. Somebody you know is hurting. Be present. Show up in whatever capacity you can, right? That's all we can do. Ty Ware, good to see you. That's interesting. I'll read that and then I'm going to get out of here. There's a very interesting debate video with AI on religion. One AI is the believer in God. The other AI is an atheist. Made for a great video. Interesting. Very interesting. All right, you guys. Thank you for being here and be thinking of Tommy. I'll see you guys in the morning and hopefully by tomorrow afternoon, this is in his rearview mirror, not to be thought of again. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for your support and all the good wishes and the good vibes and the prayers. I'll see you guys in the morning. I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat South America. All right, dude.